On the news, President Muhammadu Buhari approves 134 billion naira for military veterans. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike apologizes to Oshiomhole, says he regrets working for Obaseki's re-election. And Senate backs Central Bank of Nigeria on Naira redesign, false timeline for mop-up of old notes. Hello and welcome to News Now. I am Mary Kanu. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved 134.7 billion naira for the payment of security debarment allowance to all veterans from 2017 to date. The president also announced a donation of 10 million naira to the Nigerian Legion on behalf of the federal government at the launch of the 2023 Armed Forces Remembrance Day emblem and appeal fund. Speaking at the occasion, the president pledged the federal government's commitment to the welfare of veterans by ensuring prompt payment of their pension and other entitlements, which had been demonstrated by his approval of the payment of SDA to veterans with effect from 2017.
I approve the payment of security debarment allowance to veterans with effect from 2017. However, in order to capture all veterans hitherto excluded from the payment of the security debarment allowance, I have approved a review of the effective date of the MAFA 2017 accordingly. I am pleased to note that the Defense Health Maintenance Limited is living up to expectation in providing healthcare services to our veterans. The choice of 15th January as the Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration is symbolic because it marked the end of the Nigerian Civil War. The occasion gives cause for reflection and reminds us of the sacrifice made by our armed forces in preserving the unity of the country and highlights the need for us to guard this unity jealously.
On his part, the Minister of Defense, Bashir Magashi, pledged that the ministry would continue to ensure the prompt payment of the entitlements and debt benefits of the deceased servicemen.
Faced with myriads of security challenges in our motherland, our armed forces is working assiduously in concert with other security agencies to restore normalcy to Nigeria's multifaceted security challenges. Regrettably, some of our gallant officers and men have paid the supreme sacrifices in the line of duty. Many have also been incapacitated by a varying degree of injuries sustained.
Decidedly approach the matter, and by 2 years, we could say that Boko Haram was technically defeated, and today it's not technically defeated, but practically defeated. The President promised several times that before he leaves in May 2023, he would ensure that he leaves behind a more and better secured Nigeria. And the best and only and most logical thing to do for us in the National Assembly is to also participate in that enterprise of ensuring that we provide resources for the armed forces and other security agencies to continue to fight the insecurity that we face.
The Senate has promised to provide legislative support for the policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria to redesign the Naira. The upper chamber made this resolution after a heated debate on a motion moved by Senator Uba Sani on CBN's policy to redesign the 1,500 and 200 Naira notes. While the lawmakers supported a move to redesign the Naira, they however said the deadline of Tuesday, January 31st, 2023 to pay all cash in circulation regulation into banks was too short. Lawmakers also questioned the impact of the redesign of the Naira note on the economy and if it will help reduce the inflation rate and the dwindling value of the Naira.
Cash outside the banks consists of over 80% of currency in circulation (CIC) as at the end of June 2022. Available data indicated that 2.72 trillion out of the 3.26 trillion currency in circulation was outside the vaults of commercial banks across the country. Further aware that recent developments in photographic and computer technology, as well as printing devices have made the production of counterfeit money relatively easy, thereby increasing the potential threat. In recent years, the bank has recorded a consistent rise in incidences of counterfeiting of the Naira, with 500 and 1,000 denomination banknotes most attacked. The threat to counterfeiting of the two denominations is a function of a large margin between cost of counterfeiting and gains derivable from the criminal act.
I'd like to make clear that we are guided here by extant law. And the provisions of that extant law, most especially section 17, 18, and 19, most especially 19(1) A and B of the CBN Act, even though not specifically cited, but I think the content has been alluded to all through the debate. It is within the exclusive preserve of the CBN board on the based on the recommendation of Mr. President and the approval of Mr. President to carry out this redesigning, the form and the marks is within their exclusive preserve. And this also applies to timing.
The Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has apologized to former National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Adams Oshiomhole. Speaking at the inauguration of the Rumwe-Pirikom flyover in the Obiakpo local government area of the state, the Rivers State Governor said he regretted working for the re-election of Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki in September 2020. Wike, a member of the People's Democratic Party, fell out with Obaseki earlier in 2022. Obaseki and Wike have been at loggerheads amid a crisis rocking the PDP as the former backed PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, whilst Wike continued to demand the resignation of Iyorchia Ayu as a precondition to support Atiku's presidential ambition for 2023.
Nobody can tell me who is my friend. I will choose my friend. Nobody can choose my friends for me. And so I used this opportunity like I did last time to apologize to you. You know, I came to Edo State to make sure your candidate didn't win the election. And I was virtually in charge every day coming out on television to take you on. And I said you will not win and that you didn't win. This is a national television. And, you know, each time you learn, we stand for equity, fairness, and justice. That's what we stand for. And that's what the G5 will continue to preach. But you too, you prepared me here. During 2019 election, you sent in all the soldiers in this world. But the people stood firm and resisted it. So you did me one, me I did you one.
The Yaba College of Technology, Yaba Tech, is set to graduate 7,554 students at both National Diploma and Higher National Diploma levels during its forthcoming 34th convocation ceremonies. Rector of the institution, Obafemi Omokungbe, made the announcement on Wednesday while addressing the press and activities lined up for the ceremonies. The rector, in his address, explained that the institution over the years has churned out excellent graduates in different fields who have continued to contribute to Nigeria's economy. The rector, who listed all the achievements of the institution, also appealed for funding from stakeholders in a bid to improve academic standards in the institution.
The college since inception has produced graduates who are in enviable positions in all walks of life, both public and private sectors, and have contributed immensely to the socio-economic and political development of the nation. These graduates of Yaba College of Technology are making significant impact in the march towards industrial and technological advancement of Nigeria. The press conference marks the official announcement of the 34th convocation ceremony scheduled for November 21 to 24. The convocation ceremony is for the graduating class of 2018-2019, 2019-2020, and 2020-2021 academic session. The ceremony, which has a week-long program, commences on Friday, November 18, with the Juma service at 1 p.m. and interdenominational Thanksgiving service on Sunday, November 20 at 4 p.m. The convocation lecture slated for November 21 will be on the topic of emergence of successful young entrepreneur in the current Nigerian economy, the place of integrity, to be delivered by Mrs. Kafilat Araoye, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Bluetooth Bank. The venue is at the Yusuf Grillo Auditorium. Distinguished gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to inform you that the climax of the ceremony comes up on Thursday, November 24th, 2022, when a total of 7,554 graduates will be awarded national and higher national diplomas of the college.
The Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, says it is offering the 2 remaining lots in the 3.5 GHz spectrum band to support 5G deployment in Nigeria. This was disclosed by the Executive Vice Chairman of NCC, Umar Dambata, while speaking to newsmen at the Stakeholders Forum on the draft information memorandum on 3.5 GHz spectrum auction on Tuesday in Lagos. He explained that this move by the Commission will ensure reliable communication services and innovative digital technologies in the country. Our correspondent Simisola Adigun tells us more.
In line with the national policy on the implementation of the 5th generation 5G technology in Nigeria, the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, has decided to engage stakeholders in the communications industry to deliberate on the draft information memorandum for the upcoming auction of the 3.5 GHz spectrum band before it is finally published.
It's a world-class communications regulatory agency. We believe that our actions must be guided by decisions that take into cognizance the input from stakeholders in the industry. Therefore, we seek your active participation in these deliberations towards the licensing of the available 2 lots.
Giving an overview of the draft information memorandum, the Commission explained the requirements for the auction process. These requirements include eligibility, licensing, security, as well as rollout obligations, among others.
If you already have licenses in the 3.5, you won't be able to participate. Then the license itself, it comes with a 10-year spectrum license and a minimum requirement of a Unified Access Service license, operational license. So you must have a minimum of a UASL before you can roll out. Commercial services will be rolled out nothing later than 12 months after the effective date of your license.
The Commission further explained that the essence of the event is to involve stakeholders on telecom-related issues to promote fair competition, inclusive growth, as well as increased investment and innovative services, as this will enable Nigerians enjoy quality services, adding that the concerns and recommendations will be put into consideration.
We don't want these, lots to just sit idle without, being utilized, like I said, to provide desired, pervasive telecommunication services, to Nigerians. We normally subject the information, the draft information memorandum, to this kind of engagement.
We have had questions arose on maybe the issue of reserve price as to whether new entrants should come in or whether existing licenses should be allowed to participate again and all this. So these are normal consultation processes, and we'll take back all the inputs made and look at them in the overall national interest and take a new and final decision and release the document.
The Commission advised stakeholders and interested participants to study the draft information memorandum, which is available on its website, as the auction will commence in December. Simisola Atigun, TV360, Lagos.
Well, we'll take a break here, but still to come, Poland missile unlikely to have been fired from Russia, Biden clarifies as Russia denies involvement. We'll bring you details of the story and more right after this break. Welcome back. Now a recap of our top stories tonight. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved 134.7 billion naira for the payment of security debarment allowance to all veterans from 2017 to date. The president also announced a donation of 10 million naira to the Nigerian Legion on behalf of the federal government at the launch of the 2023 Armed Forces Remembrance Day emblem and appeal form. We also told you that Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has apologized to former national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Adams Oshiomhole. Speaking at the inauguration of the Rumwe-Pericom flyover in the Obiakpo local government area of the state, the Rivers State Governor said he regretted working for the re-election of Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki in September 2020. Well, in case you missed any of our news bulletin or for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. And now to COVID-19 stories and updates. Pakistan's Prime Minister has tested positive for the coronavirus and was feeling unwell a day after returning from London. The country's information minister has announced it was the third time that Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has tested positive for the virus. The first two times were in June 2020 and in January this year. The country's information minister, in a tweet on Tuesday, asked the nation to pray for the 71-year-old leader's quick recovery. Sharif travelled earlier this month to the Egyptian Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh, where he participated at the annual United Nations Climate Summit known as COP27, and from there went on to London on a private trip to see his older brother, former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. We'll take a break now and read some of the business updates, so stay with us. Welcome back. It's time for business news with Abisola Adebayo. Abisola.
Welcome to Business News. The National Bureau of Statistics has revealed that Nigeria's inflation rate has risen to 21.09%. The NBS, in its Consumer Price Index report for October 2022, disclosed that the CPI, which measures the rate of change in prices of goods and services, surged to 21.09% in October 2022, up from 20.77% in the previous month. The latest figure shows that the general price level for the headline inflation rate increased in October 2022 when compared to the same month in the preceding year of October 2021 by 5.09%. To speak more on this, Muda Yusuf, the Chief Executive Officer of the Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise, joins me on the news. Thank you very much for joining us. So what do you make of the latest inflation rate of 21.09%? And how exactly do you think this will affect CBN's interest rate at the next MPC meeting this November?
Well, the 21.09% inflation rate did not come as a surprise, because all the variables driving the intense inflationary pressures have not changed. And the key variables here are the exchange rate depreciation, the high energy costs, the high transportation costs, issues of insecurity, the monetization of fiscal deficits, and of course, the global factors of the tightening of monetary policy across the world, which is affecting the depreciation of the currency. So all these key factors are still very much intact, and in some cases they have even been worsening, particularly the exchange rate situation. So to that extent, it didn't come as a surprise that we still have high inflation rates and an inflation rate that is still accelerating. So that is the situation, and of course food inflation is even much higher. It's 23.7%, and that is one of the biggest worries of the citizens. These things require some urgent action, urgent responses by government. And well, it's good to know that the president has set up a committee to look at the challenges of inflation, particularly food inflation. And we are hoping that some drastic measures will be taken. Because for the citizens, it's extremely unbearable. What the cost of things are in the marketplace. As for the effects on the MPC meeting, well, we are seeing very drastic measures as far as the monetary policy is concerned, particularly with regard to tightening. We are seeing the CRR increase to 32.2%, the highest possibly in the history of the central bank. We have also seen the MPR increase to about 15.5%. So the monetary policy tools have been practically pushed to the limit. If you ask me, I don't think it can change anything, because in spite of all this monetary tightening, the inflation pressure has not abated. So I think the thing to do is to look at the supply side factors that can bring down inflation, that will increase productivity, increase output, and also policy measures that can stabilize the exchange rates, and policy measures that can also reduce energy prices.
Like you said earlier, food inflation also surged to...
Four important things to deal with.
Right, so food inflation also surged to 23.72%, like you earlier mentioned. How severe do you think the situation will be in coming months, considering the flooding of farmlands across the country?
Well, it's going to be very severe. First, we are entering the festive season of December, and generally demands for food items are often higher. Secondly, we had this flooding, and the effect of that on prices will begin to manifest from next year. From next month. So we expect the situation to be even much more severe in the coming months. I'm talking now about December, January. So the situation is likely to be more severe. That is why I was saying that the government needs to be a bit proactive to see how it can at least deploy some, policy measures that you can regard as low-hanging fruits. For instance, things like fiscal policy, reducing tariff on some critical imports that can help to bring down the prices of some of these processed goods that are being sold by all the food and beverage operators in the economy.
Right, Mr. Muda Yusuf, the Chief Executive Officer for the Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise. Thank you so much for joining me on the news, and thank you for your contributions. Well, we'll take a break now and return with a review of the stock market. Nigeria's equities market recorded its first gain this week today after the all-share index increased by almost 1%, which is 0.55%, as it ended in 44,046 basis points. Market capitalization also rebounded massively, gaining a whopping 130 billion naira to close at 24 trillion naira today. Stocks like Coinest and MRS were the toast of investors on the market, as they topped our gainers list today after recording a combined 1 naira 29 kobo increase. Stocks like Etana and Guinness were unfortunately not so lucky after ending in the losers counter today. Obviously, they led 13 other losers on the market, and they recorded a combined 8 naira 8 kobo loss. Our market summary is also in the red, as 159 million units of shares valued at 2.8 billion naira exchange hands in 3,039 deals. Despite the rebound, analysts still maintain expectations of persistent sell pressure in the Nigerian equities market, and therefore recommend the market is only good for investors with patient capital. Moving on to the foreign scene, the FTSE, the Dow Jones and the Nikkei. The FTSE rose on Wednesday, even though it's in the negative here, even as hotter than expected inflation data highlighted a severe cost of living crisis that has put the British economy at the risk of a sharp recession. The Dow Jones also slid from 2-month highs, and the safe haven dollar weakened on Wednesday after stronger than expected U.S. retail sales clouded the inflation outlook and hopes that the Federal Reserve could ease its aggressive interest rate hikes. But the Japan stocks Nikkei is fortunately in the positive territory today, recording a 0.14% increase at the close of trading. That's all on Stock Market Reports. Back to you, Mary, for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Abisola. Moving on now to the global scene. United States President Joe Biden says preliminary information suggests that the missile that hit Poland was unlikely to have been fired by Russia. On Tuesday, a missile killed 2 people at a Polish village near the border with Ukraine. The explosion at the grain facility near the Ukrainian border has sparked concerns about possible World War III. Owing to the incident, Poland's military was placed on high alert as North Atlantic Treaty Organization NATO ambassadors called for an emergency meeting on Wednesday morning. However, the Russian Defense Ministry in a statement on Tuesday denied reports that the country is responsible for the attack, saying the claim is a deliberate provocation aimed at escalating the situation. And now in sports, Manchester United legend and owner of US football club David Beckham has made a sensational move to lure and battle Manchester United star Cristiano Ronaldo to Inter Miami. Beckham, who owns Inter Miami, has reportedly reached out to Ronaldo's representatives for a transfer move from United. Meanwhile, there are indications that Ronaldo is set to be interested in the switch. Ronaldo, in an earlier interview, had said he felt betrayed by Manchester United, adding that he had no respect for manager Erik ten Hag. Although United have said they are seeking legal advice before deciding their next move over the interview, there are speculations that Ronaldo's time at Manchester United has come to an end. Well, that's a bulletin this evening. Many thanks for watching. I am Mary Kanu.